let's go argue in the court. But now it's really not that. Hi guys, and welcome to the Career Khoj podcast, where we talk to some really cool people who have really interesting career trajectories. And today we're going to talk to Aayush Kakodkar, who studied law at Symbiosis Law School. He is now working as an assistant manager at JSW Steel. So hi Aayush.
Hi, how are you?
This is a student administered program. Our aim is to offer information from other students who have recently graduated. None of this information is to be taken as advice. Nobody in this video or in the team is a guidance or career counselor, nor are we experts in the fields which we have chosen. We do not intend to look down on any career or academic path and hope these stories will be taken in the spirit in which they were said. Our experiences are personal and cannot be universally applied. We hope this video is helpful to whoever watches it and it equips you with some relevant insights. Enjoy.
When did you make the decision of law?
A friend of mine took me to this career launchers class that helps you prepare for CLAT and everything. And the floor under it was some B.B.A. L.LB. No, not B.L.L.B. It was a B.B.A. entrance exam. So I wanted to go for that, coaching for an entrance exam. I wanted to go for that, but I just accompanied him. And he was the guy there. He was talking to us about law, and it seemed interesting to me. Then I started thinking back, and I realized that I have always been very curious about how these transactions happen when I used to read it in the papers.
Wow.
Also, I always thought that I have this unrefined skills of maybe being articulate or having some kind of logical reasoning. Of course, legal reasoning develops later, but I believe that I had a lot of logical reasoning.
11th and 12th, you were in which background?
I was doing commerce from Mishri College in Bombay. Like, for example, if you do B.A. there'll be parts of law that you can appreciate more because you've studied psychology and studied a couple of other things in arts that will help you do that. If you come from a commerce background, then it will help you understand transactions better, right?
Correct.
Even say coming somebody who has done science, there is forensic law, right? So we studied that in law school.
What exam do you have to give to get into law school?
Right. So there are a bunch of exams. I'm sure the names have changed now. It's been, I think, 6 years since I gave it. So there is a common law entrance test, which is CLAT. Right.
Okay.
So now CLAT is your gold standard of entrance exams.
Okay.
It's your, what do you have in engineering?
We have
It's
JE and
JEE.
CET.
Yeah. It's probably an equivalent to that in law.
Okay.
So that gives you access to all these national law schools.
Okay.
Although NLU Delhi is also a very good law school, which you cannot appear for its exam through CLAT. I think there's an exam called IELT that you have to give. So this is for your national premium law schools. There's also private law schools such as Symbiosis and Jindal, which find themselves in the top 10.
Okay.
So they have their individual entrance exams. Like we gave Symbiosis entrance test back in the day. It's called something else now. Jindal has something else. So either you can do that or give your local entrance exam that makes you eligible for your local colleges. It rarely happens that one can prepare for it overnight. Of course, if somebody who's watching this and who's in 12th and is still figuring it out, I'm not saying it is impossible. I did it after 12th, and not that I was the brightest or anything like that. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
So this involves essentially subjects like GK, legal reasoning, logical reasoning, a bit of math,
Okay.
English.
And
Math especially is only for CLAT and a couple of other exams.
not for
But
all of
it's
them.
not for all of them, and math is not a big component. So
Okay.
don't get scared, because what happens is that a lot of students, when they think of doing law, one of the major things that also drives them is that they'll get to leave math. So
Yeah.
don't worry, it's not going to haunt you there. Like, you can start reading newspapers. One would recommend you to read, say, the Hindu, the Economic Times,
Correct.
and get into the habit. More importantly, get curious about what is happening. Why is this happening? With legal reasoning, with logical reasoning, again, it's about practice. I would recommend one joining some law coaching class. Of
Okay,
course,
yeah.
I'm not going to recommend any, because they are all, as long as you get the concept and you practice, all of them are
They're all good.
all right. Yeah.
What is the difference between a 3-year law course and a 5-year law course?
Yes. This is a very good and an important question actually that you asked. So it's very important to understand that you can law is a degree by itself, and you can couple that with say BA, BBA, whatever, like I just said earlier. So after 12th, if you choose to do law, you can get into a 5-year law program where
Okay.
you do a dual degree, where
Oh,
it can be BA LLB, BB LLB, and so on. So then your law gets over in 5 years. So this is
okay.
5-year course. If you complete your graduation, which is say 3 years after 12th, or 4 if you are an engineer, right? If you complete that, after that, if you decide to pursue law, then you can do a 3-year LLB.
Can
Right?
you do a 3-year LLB without any degree?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
You have to be a graduate to do 3 LLB.
Okay. So now we're into law school. Now we're doing a 5-year LLB, suppose.
Right.
And what are typically the first few years looking like?
So the first few years, essentially, they just you're making me reminisce them, but they just go by very fast. So to understand what is happening
Yeah.
around you, right? So first year you will start adjusting. You will learn some basics like tort law, contract law, uh,
So these
which
are basics. In the first year,
so
you'll be
there's
really
nothing so
fun.
there's no, we cannot say that these are basic laws, because for example contract is something that is, you can say it's a bread and butter of so many lawyers, and contract lawyers can be extremely complicated, but
Okay.
they start off with that. They teach you the basis of law, which is jurisprudence. It's one of the subjects that tells you how law evolved.
Okay.
If you yeah go ahead.
Yeah. So you were saying something about tort law.
Yeah.
What does tort law exactly mean?
So it's basically law of torts is like that our legal system is borrowed from the British,
Oh,
and it's a common law system that was there in all the countries that the British ruled. So tort law comes from there. Actually, the right word is not basic but foundational.
foundation. I'm sorry.
So
Yeah.
these subjects are extremely foundational, and what is important to note is that in the 5-year course you're not only doing these subjects, you're also doing the dual degree that you were doing with. Like for example, I was
Mhm.
doing BA LLB, so I was learning history, I was learning sociology, right? So I
Yeah.
was learning pol science, and coupled say studying pol science with probably constitution law makes your understanding a little better. You understand bigger uh, a bigger piece of what one looks at.
There, how do we go on to specializing in law? And how does that work?
uh,
Could you please tell
okay,
us that?
so I think there is one thing that also has to be extremely clear is I too did get asked that acha, so you have specialized in corporate law, you are a corporate lawyer. So one, this is a myth, and this has to be busted. Like, so what happens is that you learn BA LLB is not a specialization, right?
Oh,
It
okay.
is not a specialization. It's an equivalent to a BCom, like how you have BCom, and if you want to specialize, you do an MBA or
Correct.
another master's. So
Correct.
it is the foundational graduate degree. So
Okay.
what happens here is that you select subjects, but you learn IPC, you read IPC, you read CRPC, you also read companies law,
Okay.
you also read insolvency laws, property law, family law. So you
Okay.
read, you will probably learn about divorce cases. At the same time, you will learn about say mergers and acquisitions. So it's a taste
Oh,
of everything. But
okay.
what is important is that in the later years, say in the third year, fourth year, fifth year, there you get to choose subjects. But even if you can choose subjects, you already have the foundation of how criminal law works. You
Okay.
have the foundation of how corporate law works.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So that is very important to understand. And when you ask about specialization, that is again a master's degree, which is in the form of a LLM, which
LLM.
you can
Okay.
do after LLB.
LLB.
So
Okay.
that is your master's, that is your specialization.
Okay. So first you come up with LLB, and then you go to masters to do LLM to specialize
If
in
you
what you
decide,
want.
yeah.
If you
There are a
decide.
lot of conflicting views on one, if one should do or one should not do. It is a purely individualistic decision.
Okay. Great. Great. So now I want to know in law school, like Mishri is a lawyer, and she's always
Right.
told me that she's interning here, she's interning there,
Yeah.
and I would just like how flexible are the timings in during law school to intern in different places?
Okay, so here again, it depends on your law school. Like for example, in these top 10 law schools, like I was telling you, you get after every semester you get 1.5 2 months break.
Hmm.
And sadly for all you law students, this break is not your summer vacation. You are supposed to intern, or
Wow.
expected to intern. It's just better for you. You're not
Okay.
supposed to do anything. But of course, the bar council also mandates some months or some weeks of internship. So that is also a mandate for you to become a lawyer when you give the bar exam after law. But still, law students prefer interning every vacation, because that really helps you. It teaches you the practicality of it. What you study theory, but you
Yeah.
get to apply it.
But to have extracurricular activities also a part of your life during law school. Did
So
you
with
get that
with
time?
with the yes, I did. So with that, I'll just come back to the earlier question because I missed one point, and then I'll get to this. So when I said it depends on your law school, if you are in a law school like GLC, which is Government Law College, it's a very famous, very old law college in Mumbai,
Hmm.
right? So that college is not. It has a very less either threshold for attendance, or the timings are in the early morning. So what is typically
Oh,
done by students from GLC is that I think the lectures get over by 11 or 11:30, and after
wow.
that they intern. They intern throughout the year. They intern for 6 months when
Wow.
all the other law students are in law school and the gap is empty. They intern that. Then they intern there and they really improve on their skills and get. So many of them get PPOs.
That's
So
okay. And so yes, coming back to extracurriculars
yes.
during law school.
So for me, extracurriculars were extremely important. In fact, somewhere I think I gave them too much importance over everything else. But uh, you get to develop a lot of you get to develop a lot of skills. Like for example, my extracurricular activities included being a part of the students' council. It included organizing the annual cultural fest.
Yeah.
I've seen it through being a member to a co-convener. So the 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 exposure that you get in such events, or the exposure that you get interacting with so many people, interacting with people from outside, really shapes you. It helps you develop a lot of soft skills,
Wow.
and it is extremely important. I would say that a first generation lawyer. I am a first generation lawyer, and law is also a little. It is. I'm not saying that there's nepotism or something like that, but it is the if you have a lineage, it's easier, like in any field.
Okay. Yeah.
So if a
Correct.
lot
Correct.
of law firms want to shape young minds and they
Wow.
proactively offer internships, but there are some that also require that recommendation, like you would require in any field, which
Correct.
a first generation lawyer might have a little problem getting, which I personally did.
Correct. Okay. So I have one doubt about these internships. What types of internships are present during during your studying law?
Right. So again, it depends on what kind of a lawyer do you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But what is advisable is that in your first semester, I would personally recommend do not intern in your first semester. Take that time for yourself. But what is recommended is that you do an NGO internship, so that
Okay.
you go in easy,
Mm.
and you learn a lot. Plus, you become more aware of your duties to the society as a lawyer.
Yeah.
So that's extremely important, that your foundation is set that way.
Wow.
Then one should typically start interning at lower courts,
Mm.
at district courts, because you will learn a lot there. You need to know the procedure. Even if you're thinking that I want to become a corporate lawyer, or I want to work in so and so company,
Mm.
finally, whatever, you need to understand how courts work.
Mm.
That primary and that basic understanding is a must.
Okay. And now I want to come to something like, like how does a normal day in law school look like? Like your
Right.
timings and everything.
So again, every law school has different timings, like I gave you an example earlier.
Great.
But typically for me, my classes started at 8 and would go on till 4, 4:30. Depending on the day, there would be extra classes.
Yeah.
I remember there was in my third year we had an option to learn a third language, and I learned Spanish. And the class
Wow.
started at 7 up to 9. In your day you don't only attend lectures, but you have so many other things to do where there is mooting activities, there is client counseling, there are a lot of other co-curricular activities that one does, like debating.
Yeah.
So a lot of that happens, and that is also extremely important. Like I remember I have participated and represented Symbiosis for a couple of negotiation competitions, negotiation, mediation, client counseling. In fact, in my later years in the law school, I also started being a strategist to my juniors, where I used to help them that way.
Wow.
Uh, so that really helps me now also, because right now that is what I do. I negotiate commercial contracts, and the
Yeah.
practice of doing that in competitions helps you.
Yeah.
Similarly, there are moot courts where one can represent the college in moot court competitions, and that will give you a flavor of how litigation would feel like.
Okay. Okay.
So there are a lot of activities that one can do.
So, what are you doing right now after law school?
So, in my fourth year of law school, through Symbiosis placement cell, I received an assessment internship with JSW Steel,
Oh,
actually with the group. Now, the JSW is, I think it's a $12 billion company, which
wow.
deals in the steel sector, steel, cement, infrastructure. They also co-own Delhi Capitals. They own some team in in ISL.
Correct.
They
Correct.
own Haryana Steelers in Pro Kabaddi League. So
Correct.
they have a lot of different businesses under their belly. I primarily am a part of the mergers and acquisitions team.
Okay.
So we take care of how, for example, we want to buy a company, or we want to invest in another company.
Hmm.
I also do a lot of contract work, contract negotiation. So that is what my current role is.
What are your other classmates doing right now in the field of law or in any field?
Right. So my classmates are, some majority of them are at law firms. Some are doing litigation. Some have decided to pursue an MBA after law, which also seems like a very good option right now. So many people are doing it. Some of them are doing an LLM,
Yeah.
like I told you, it's a specialization.
Yeah.
Some of them are preparing for civil service.
Wow.
So you have, basically, after law school, you'll know somebody in every field. That I know my batch. Some of my batchmates are also doing marketing.
Wow.
Yes, some of them are doing
Okay.
marketing. So it's a huge. You can do anything after that.
Okay. What are typically the transferable skills that you acquire from law? So, like one that comes on the top of my mind, maybe research, because
Right,
lawyers really do study a lot, and research is one of the skills that can be used in marketing also. I can imagine that
right.
happening. So, what are the skills that you think are transferable skills that are taught in law?
Like, it is very well articulated by you that research is one of the main things, and that is why when a law student does an MBA, they
Hmm.
become an attractive package for a company that is looking at, say, a corporate strategy wing, or in consultancy like a
Wow.
McKinsey, because there's a lot of research involved, and a law student really learns how to research. They spend
Wow.
hours doing that. Also,
Yeah.
your ability to consume knowledge, because law involves you reading a lot, and that is
Okay.
something that one should be prepared before they decide to get into law, because it
Yeah.
involves a lot of reading. So you will be extremely well read. The transferable skill would be that you will probably be able to talk about anything under the sun, because
Wow.
you, like, for example, you would read case law regarding data protection. You would read case laws regarding e-commerce.
Hmm.
So you can talk about anything, and you are aware about what is happening. Your interpretation of anything, you can understand what the other party is thinking, how you can frame it from a neutral person's point of view. You understand negotiation.
We have covered from getting into law to coming out of law and doing different things and what's done in law. So with this only we would like to close. Thank you
Right.
so much, Ayush, for such a brilliant explanation, because
Welcome. Yes.
really a lot of study research, logical reasoning, and thinking goes behind it.
Right.
So I think I have a newfound respect for lawyers.
And I'm
And
hoping the students who see this podcast would also probably feel that way.
yeah, definitely, definitely.